morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is that you're listening. This is Janey. Welcome to the Janey with Janey podcast. And I am out in nature today. Thought I'd change it up a bit. So you would giggle because I don't always carry my tripod when I'm out for a walk. Something drew me to this tree where I'm sat. I can hear the water. I can now see two beautiful little butterflies, white butterflies, dancing about next to the stream. My dogs are quietly sat. I'm not saying they'll stay that way, so if you hear something, it's probably them. So, following on from last week's podcast, I wanted to dive into what grief really looks like and understand that grief isn't just the death of a loved one. I think I touched on this last week, but I just wanted to delve a bit deeper and give you some sort of extra info. So I want to start this is probably by saying, when people hear the word grief, like I've said, most people think about the death of a loved one. And of course, that's kind of where I'm coming from on my journey of grief. But it's not the only form of grief. And it isn't, when I've delved deeper into my grief, it isn't the only form of grief that I've had over my lifetime. I think I've touched on the school and being pushed out of a friendship group. That's a form of grief because you're losing the friends that you thought you would have. Grief can come from loss of a pet, the end of a relationship. Retirement is huge because you're losing the whole going to work scenario, or even a career change, illness, or a change in health. And the big one also is losing the life you thought you'd have for any reason. The truth is, grief is any response. It is a response to any loss. It's the, how can I put this, gap of what we were expecting to what is actually happening. So many of you follow my journey and know that it is bereavement, but like I said, I've touched on some of the areas that I've looked at. So it is a challenge when grief doesn't look like bereavement. It often goes unrecognized. People might tell you it's just a job, or they might say, at least you're still healthy, or you'll find someone else. I'm sure some of these will resonate with some of you. Those words can feel kind of almost like a knife sticking in, because grief is grief, whatever form it takes. Now, sometimes grief, how can I put it, sneaks into our life. I spent a lot of time going back over some of, like I said, the realization of my school years and how that affected me. So we might not actually call it grief, but it shows up in our bodies, shows up in moods, and the biggie, in our energy. So some of the things that might kind of you need to maybe you've noticed, it might not be something that's happening right now, but you might be feeling more tired than usual. You might have trouble concentrating. There might be a sense of disconnection almost, not knowing where you're going. And of course, the usual anger, guilt, and anxiety without really having a clear reason. Or one of the things that I found was the identity loss and that nagging feeling that there's something missing, but you can't name what it is. So if any of these are kind of ringing bells or making you think, maybe there's something I need to do, there's a chance that grief is at the root cause of it. And actually naming it as grief is powerful, because when we can name it as grief, we can work on it. We can stop blaming ourselves for being weak and instead think about, I'm grieving, I'm human, and that's okay. So my job now is to help guide you when you realise you're grieving. You can't fix grief. We don't need fixing. We're not broken. We simply need to look at small, gentle steps. So this is where I kind of work on with clients, taking small steps to flip the page and start a new chapter. That's one of my favourite sayings, as I'm sure you've heard before. So the grief to growth approach, which is kind of where I'm coming from, is to pause with compassion and allow yourself to feel what's there, feel what's inside. Think about what happened, what matters to you now, reconnecting with your values of you as a person. Who are you? Where are you going? That kind of thing. Take one tiny act, something small that you can do for you, but kind. So these are just an insight into some of the things I work with my clients. And just remember that whatever we're doing, we're moving forward, we're not moving on. And just reframing that is huge. That was a biggie for me, because people keep saying, oh, yeah, you'll move on eventually. And actually, sometimes you don't want to move on, but we can move forward. And it's just funny how words can resonate to make you feel different ways. So we can do it slowly, with intention. And for me, always carrying the love and experience with us. Some of you may have seen my post about it being my 25th wedding anniversary last week and celebrating. I know I mentioned it on the podcast last week. So as you listen to this today, the sun's shining. I am inviting you. Well, it's shining in Northumberland at home. It may not be when I get to Corbridge, but who knows? I would invite you to reflect. Have a little think. Where in your life might grief be hiding? It could be old grief, could be deep down somewhere. Is it in a transition from work to retirement? Is it a lost dream? Like, had you planned to do something that's gone pear-shaped? or is it a change that you didn't ask for, which is, where some of us are at. As I always say, grief is unique to each of us, and you don't have to navigate this alone. You don't have to do things on your own. So I'm here to guide through the grief to growth process to help you flip the page and start a new chapter in life. And the link is in the notes below as to how to contact me to work with me. Or if you're in the local area, why not pop along? I'd love to welcome you to my weekly drop-in sessions at the Angel Inn in Corbridge, which run every Wednesday from 9:30 till 11:30. And we can speak in person. So until next time, thank you for joining me today. And I hope you find compassion in your pause and courage in the small steps to actually look at where you are, where you're going, what you might want out of life. So, and always remember, there's something inside of you that knows no limits. It's time to believe in you. Me on the Journey with Janey podcast. Always remember, there is something within you that knows no limits. It's time to believe in you. Click the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. I love reading your reviews and comments, so right away. So, if you're ready to take those small steps to transform your true self, let's do life together.